Coming up on WFT Midday, the aftermath of Hurricane Francine after making landfall in Louisiana, the plans in place to aid recovery. And a new program is bridging learning gaps for non-English speakers, how the program is run through a partnership between the city and libraries.
More storms associated with Francine are moving through the peninsula today. I will time out the rain coming up.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
More than 100,000 people are without power in Louisiana after Hurricane Francine made landfall, with 3 to 4 inches of rain flooding homes. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Nicole Borman. As Michael Yoshida reports, officials are working to fix the sewer system to help households from the storm runoff.
Utility crews worked to restore power in New Orleans Thursday. Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses are without power in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama after wind and fallen trees ripped down power lines. In Houma, Louisiana, Francine's winds were so strong, the roof of this flea market was torn off.
Well, it's certainly worse than we anticipated.
It was something else.
At a press conference Thursday, New Orleans city officials touted the response of most residents.
You just did what we asked you to do.
After Francine hit Wednesday evening, it dumped more than a month's worth of rain on New Orleans within hours, causing a rare flash flood emergency. One man who was out on the road got stuck in a truck when floodwaters began to overtake his vehicle. Thankfully, a nearby nurse sprang into action.
I just made a game time decision and said, I'll be right back. Went and grabbed a hammer out of my house and just went in there and broke the window and got him out of there.
Not only did Francine make traveling dangerous, the water rushed into homes. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office said they pulled 26 residents, many from their flooded homes Wednesday night.
And all of a sudden we saw water starting to come in from all different areas.
Thursday, residents faced with the daunting task of the cleanup. In New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Israel's military is defending its actions after one of its strikes in central Gaza killed at least 18 people, including 6 UN employees. The strike hit a UN school where thousands of displaced people are seeking refuge and shelter. 44 other people were injured. This is the 5th time a UN-run school has been hit. The UN director inside of Gaza says if these strikes continue, then this will undermine international humanitarian law. Israel Defense Forces say they are trying to avoid civilian casualties and say 3 of the UN employees were Hamas members. The UN says that there is no evidence that these employees are working for Hamas. Former President Donald Trump is not backing away from false claims of the presidential debate on Tuesday, and Vice President Kamala Harris is back out campaigning to rally swing states. Bree Jackson spoke to voters about their thoughts on both candidates.
Former President Trump doubling down on unfounded claims that Haitian migrants in Ohio are eating pets during this interview with Telemundo in Arizona, a claim debunked by local leaders.
Well, that's come from stories, it's come from television, and some of the pets, I don't know, cats, dogs, or both, but some of the pets were taken by the migrants, and it's a shame.
Trump first making that accusation during Tuesday's debate against Vice President Harris, each claiming victory in the face-off. Trump says he won't be returning to the debate stage this election cycle.
There will be no third debate. The voting's already begun. You got to go out and vote. We got to vote.
I believe we owe it to have another debate. Right? We owe it to the voters. Because here's the thing. In this election, what's at stake could not be more important.
Harris holding rallies in North Carolina Thursday. It's a state Democrats have not won since Barack Obama carried it back in 2008. Trump has his sights set on Arizona as both candidates take their post-debate message to key states.
I think Trump won because he hit all the marks.
I think that she's doing what politicians do, which is try to represent everyone in America.
While most Americans will head to the polls in November, mail-in ballots have started going out in Alabama, and early voting in Pennsylvania, a must-win state for both campaigns, begins next week.
Two of the charges facing former President Donald Trump. The Fulton County judge upheld the racketeering charge against Trump in a separate ruling Thursday. For Trump, the charges have not gone into effect due to the pause of pending appeals. The charges are now impacting former Trump lawyer John Eastman and Georgia State Senator Sean Still. Both were involved in the 2020 fake electors poll. Both Eastman and Still's case are not currently paused. Trump is only named in 2 of the 3 charges that were thrown out Thursday. If you missed Marion County Public Schools meeting about rezoning 2 new elementary schools, don't worry. On Monday, you can share your thoughts about both schools at 6 p.m. in Hammett Bowen Junior Elementary School's cafeteria. MCPS will share plans on attendance boundaries for the schools, rezoning, and transportation. You can see the artist rendering of the schools. MCPS says the schools will address the growing number of people in the southwest Marion County area. Everyone is welcome to ask questions and join the conversation. Firefighters, law enforcement, and emergency services show the dangers of lithium-ion batteries incidents in a demonstration. While fires can be put out by water, these fires cannot be extinguished. Firefighters use a foam substance or let it burn out on its own. These batteries are becoming more frequent as electric vehicles become more popular among drivers. Battery fires are not only caused by EVs. You can start a fire by overcharging a phone, power tools, or scooters short-circuiting. The Division of State Fire Marshal is doing its best so everyone is prepared. Alachua County ranks high on statewide literacy tests in elementary schools. However, schools face learning gaps for non-English speakers. Alachua County Library District and Gainesville partnered on a literacy called Bilingual Storytime. It was created to combat language challenges and encourage early learning. The kids enjoyed singing, dancing, and learning about science and space. Alachua County has a 21% gap in language arts achievements between English learners and native speakers. Voluntary pre-kindergarten coordinator for Alachua County Public Schools, Trisha Rodriguez, says the key is in individualized early learning.
Not only does it help the students when they're in the class with each other, the parents seem to really partner and collaborate with each other.
In a continued effort to close the literacy gap, the school district came up with a solution. The program, Home Instruction for Parents of Preschool Youngsters, or HIPPY. Rodriguez hopes to see more growth through these initiatives. Free parking is going away on Monday, except on weekends and city-observed holidays in downtown Gainesville. Expect to pay up to 50 cents an hour on street spaces with a 2-hour time limit. In the Southwest Parking Garage, you can purchase monthly and quarterly permits up to $100. Businesses say that they are losing business during the week, but city commissioners are encouraging drivers to park further away to spend less. The UF weather team is tracking rain and storms later today, but let's take a quick look at our DOT cam. You're seeing I-75 at near Paynes Prairie, and we are seeing normal traffic. Roads are looking clear, so if you want to take a drive, now is the time. You can see some raindrops on the camera, and those clouds are rolling in. UF forecaster Kara Rydberg is tracking those storms and will tell you how best to prepare.
Storm starting to push just off the west coast of Florida, bringing that high-intensity rain marked in both yellow and red, with the lightning strikes just happening just southwest of Cedar Key. These storms are actually shown on our infrared camera marked in orange as high intensity. Looking at the infrared, we can also see the rotation going on up here. This is actually the remnants of Hurricane Francine, now post-tropical cyclone Francine. Our winds are up to 15 miles per hour, and it's moving southeast at 3 miles per hour. Our future cast is showing some rain going on tonight, right around kickoff time tomorrow for our Texas A&M game. Rain is starting to develop just right over Gainesville, starting to dissipate right around 11 p.m. And as we go into tomorrow, couple just swarming just off the eastern coast. There we are. Our Century Tower camera is showing the overcast skies. Right now there's hardly any wind and the temperature as 77. We can see just how gray the clouds are starting to develop as rain is moving in. Temperatures across north central Florida are showing pretty consistent, up to 82 in Jacksonville and down at 77 down in Cross City. Our hour by hour going into tonight, expect that peak rain happening right around 5 p.m. at 70% at 83 degrees. And then going into the night, 75 degrees and the chance of rain going down, so expect some overcast skies right around then. Our kickoff Forecast for tomorrow against, again, Texas A&M, 12 p.m., hot and humid, chance of rain right around 83 degrees. And then at 3:30 p.m. at kickoff, isolated showers at 86 degrees. And then 7 p.m., a shower or two possible right as the game's getting out, right around 79 degrees. Our forecast for tomorrow, for this week actually, 80 degrees throughout the week with a chance of rain being consistent throughout. I would suggest packing an umbrella heading out the door as those humid temperatures are going to bring that rain.
Tens of thousands of Boeing workers are on strike as of the early hours of this morning. The walkouts at facilities in Washington and other states follow union votes yesterday. The tally shows supermajorities of members reject a proposed new contract and approve of the strike. Amy Kiley has insight from Boeing workers.
Strike! 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 About 33,000 Boeing workers are on strike today. That's after union workers voted down a proposed contract and authorized the walkout to start overnight.
Our members rejected the contract by 94.6%, and they voted to strike by 96%.
Strike affects workers at facilities in multiple states.
I'm just emotional because my daughter still lives at home, and she makes more than I do, but she went to college, right? So she'll step in for my wife and I, but that's not going to make me sign yes.
The rejected contract lists a 25% raise spread out over 4 years. Boeing says that's its largest ever general wage increase. It says the deal also helps with health care and retirement costs.
Boeing is portraying to the media that it's this greatest thing they've ever done, and it's not.
Critics say it's not enough.
We have members that are still living in their cars at maxed out pay because they cannot afford to live in this state and work at this company.
I made more at Walmart than working here.
Some say they're upset union negotiators settled for less than the 40% they had wanted.
What we asked to be brought to the table wasn't. It was actually, it's like I said, it was kind of a slap in the face.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Now let's go to WFT Channel 5 anchor Alexis Vivanco with a look at what's coming up on First at 5.
Coming up at First at 5, the impacts of Hurricane Idalia continue to ripple throughout north central Florida. The lasting impact the storm is having on the poultry industry. Plus, addressing the nursing shortage, how Florida schools are working to meet high demand, and parking restrictions enforced in downtown Gainesville. We'll hear from a local business owner on how this can impact day to day.
Before we go, let's take one last look at the weather. What are we seeing now?
Our temperatures are going to be consistent throughout the week, high 80s as we go through, with that low being right around 72, 70s area. Our percent chance of rain is going to be consistent again, right around the high 60s, 50s throughout the week. I would suggest packing an umbrella, especially for tomorrow during our Texas A&M game.
Thanks for joining us for WUFT Midday. We're back here on Monday for another edition. We now join our sports scene with Steve Russell live on WRUF Radio and right here on WRUF-TV Channel 6.